that! Don't scribble on the walls! I'm making your room prettier for you, loser Nano. What? What happened? Rena, she drew all over the walls and then she pushed me. Oh dear Rena, what a beautiful drawing.
Maybe you're going to be an artist in the future?
Yeah, I'm going to become an artist and I'm going to make a lot of money.
We're counting on it.
Aren't you glad, Nano? Your sister made such a beautiful drawing for you. I don't like it. You don't understand how amazing this is? I said I don't like it. You should have drawn it on the walls of your own room. Even though I drew it all for you, Nano.
Shame on you, Nano! Why would you say something like that?
Don't you feel bad for your sister? But
you need to apologize.
Why does it always end up like that? Even when I look back now as an adult, my family was definitely twisted. We were a family of 4, with my parents, my older sister Rena, and me. But as you can see, my parents spoiled my older sister, and I was always being yelled at. My parents built our family home when we were little, but ever since I could remember, my older sister got whatever she wanted. And even though we were sisters, for some reason, her room was more than double the size of mine. Even though she got the much larger room, my sister would sneak into my room, and she would always scribble on the walls or punch holes in them. She would break my things and do whatever she wanted. Every time that happened, I would go to my parents, but it was always pointless. I finally realized that they would never fix it for me. So every time my big sister would trash my room, I started fixing the broken parts myself. I would try taping colorful paper over it or putting up a corkboard to hide it. For the marks on the floors, I would use YouTube videos as a reference and try to color it with brown crayon to camouflage the marks. Little by little, I became hooked on these little repairs. This is actually kind of fun. This became the beginning of my DIY life. Nano, I'm here to ruin your room again for you. Sure, do whatever you want. I'm going to fix it anyway. What's that? Gross. You're not gonna do it? How unexciting, that attitude. But also, your room just gets grosser every year, doesn't it? Isn't it cute? It's just patchwork everywhere. Yeah, and it's all your fault. It's a matter of your bad taste, isn't it? I don't really care whether you get it or not. When my sister realized I didn't hate it anymore, she stopped trashing my room. However, our situation at home was the same, and my parents would completely spoil Rena. She got an unlimited allowance, whereas I would have to hand in receipts just to buy papers for school. As soon as I graduated high school, I moved out of that house and I began living alone, which I think was the natural thing to do.
You're going to live alone? We don't mind that at all, but we're not going to help you.
Figure out your school fees yourself, too. We already have our hands full with your big sister anyway. Sure, I wasn't counting on you at all, so don't worry. I always knew it would end up like this anyway, because my sister got to go to the prep school she chose, but she didn't even study, and I hate to say it, but she ended up going to an F-rank college, just messing around day after day with our parents' money. It's no wonder our family didn't have any money. I'm so glad that I had saved up money from working a part-time job in high school. I moved into an apartment that was pretty close to my college, and even though it was an old building, I found a place that was very lenient on the interiors of the apartment, and I began living there. All right, I'm going to DIY to my heart's content. And so, I was a college student on one hand, and on the other hand, I was able to start my fully DIY life that I had only admired in videos up until now. I got permission from the owner and started with the flooring and the wallpaper. I did whatever I could to make it my own. I'm going to record the process as a memory. And then, about 3 months after I began the DIY process, it's done! Here, come in. What? This is super amazing! How is this possible? Based on the outside of the building, you could never imagine that such a fancy room was inside. Were we warped? Is there a teleportation device in the front door? I did it all myself, DIY. Wow! I invited my friends over to have dinner. when one of my friends made a suggestion to me. Hey, did you take any videos of the creation process? Oh, I did take it, but why? Why don't you post that on YouTube? What? YouTube? You took out a student loan and you're working a part-time job while going to college and living by yourself, right? If that video goes viral, it might help you with your living expenses. That was a great idea, and with my friend's support, I started my own YouTube channel. I created a software that automatically puts a filter over you so that your identity doesn't get revealed. You're the best! That's how I started uploading my DIY life onto YouTube. In the beginning, I was barely getting 100 views on my videos. However, about 3 months after I started uploading, a compilation video of the DIY I did around my apartment went viral, and it got over 500,000 views. As a result of that, I instantly gained a lot of subscribers and succeeded in monetizing my YouTube channel. Congrats on the monetization! It's all thanks to you, Professor. Let me treat you tonight. No way. It's a celebration, so this is on me. No, me. Well then, it's on me. Please go ahead. What the heck? Oh, that reminds me. I have a favor to ask you, Nano. What is it? If you don't mind, will you DIY remodel my room too? Of course, you can record it. What? Are you sure? Thank you. Actually, I was running out of content and wasn't sure what to post next. How do you even want the room to look? I will leave it up to your taste, Nano. Over the next 3 months, I completely remodeled my friend's room. The videos from that also got great reactions. Hey, listen to this. I got a request to work for someone who saw my YouTube. Wow, that's amazing. You're going to do it, right? Of course. And so, while I was a student, I was also receiving requests for DIY remodeling, and I would turn the process into a video and post them on my channel. Before I knew it, my channel had grown to over 300,000 subscribers and had gained quite the reputation. At that time, I met a fellow DIYer named Mr. Masayoshi Sugio.
I'm always watching your videos. Oh, this is a carpenter's square that I really recommend.
Wow, thank you very much. Mr. Masayoshi was a full-time office employee, but just like me, he was uploading DIY videos onto YouTube. Through that connection, we recorded a collaboration video, and that's how we became friends. He had a personal motto of always living honestly, and I started to fall for him. And even after the collaboration, we began hanging out together. And then, right before I graduated college...
Will you please go out with me?
Yes! And this was the beginning of my relationship with Masayoshi. After I graduated college, I didn't get a job at any company, and instead, I started my own DIY company. Up until now, I was doing it in addition to my college life, but I wanted to put my all into it and make this my life. Fortunately, I was getting more requests than I could actually accept, and I was able to live a very fulfilling life. 3 years later, Masayoshi proposed to me, and we got married. At the same time, Masayoshi quit his job, and he became my business partner in the company that I built. We had our wedding in an independently owned cafe that I had previously renovated, and it was small and intimate. Not one person from my family was there. Masayoshi was very considerate, so I did contact them, but... A wedding in a cafe? How embarrassing! We're definitely not going.
You better not tell our relatives either. What an embarrassment. Wow, you must seriously be so poor. That's hilarious. How embarrassing!
Well, I had already anticipated this response, so I didn't care. And so I began my newlywed life. However, although things were going well, I suddenly got a notice that my grandmother on my father's side, who was living alone far away, had passed away. And what followed, of course, was the problem of the inheritance. My grandfather had already passed away, so it was going to be a discussion between my brother and his 2 siblings. But the most troublesome part was going to be the house that she was living in.
I don't need the house. I'll just take the cash. Are you kidding me? What are we going to do with the house then? I'll give it to you, big brother. You idiot! Even if the location might be good, the house itself is narrow and the building is over 60 years old and falling apart. Even if we demolish it and sell just the land, I would end up in a deficit. What am I supposed to do? Just getting a house like that? And you know I'm going to be taxed for it too.
Well then, why don't you build a new house there and move in? You can just think of it as not having to pay the cost of land.
Then why don't you do that yourself?
Excuse me, I live with my husband and his parents at their family house, obviously. That would be impossible for me.
Okay then, sure. I'll inherit that house. But in return, I'll also take all of the money. That's oppression!
That's right. This money should be split evenly.
You can't have everything you want.
After a massive argument, in the end, it was decided that one person would inherit the house and the money altogether. But in that case, everybody said that they didn't want it, but that they still wanted the money, and apparently the discussion wasn't going anywhere. But then, my mother called me and asked if I wanted my grandmother's house. Of course, under the premise that I would be paying all of the taxes on it. Basically, they were trying to force the rundown house onto me. However, I was making a living off of DIY and remodeling, so it was a perfect offer for me. I agreed on the spot, and I gained my grandmother's house from my parents. On the other hand, my parents were able to gain the entire inheritance of thousands of dollars, and they seemed to be in great spirits. I can really do whatever I want with it, right? Yeah, of course.
Sell it, burn it, whatever you want.
It's a perfect crap house for you. Suits you well, Nano. After we completed the transfer of ownership, my husband and I began the renovation together. This was the oldest building that we had put our hands on so far, and it was really falling apart in multiple places, so it did take us a long time. But all of our hard work paid off, and we were able to bring it back to life. It's done! Masayoshi and I moved into my grandmother's house that we remodeled and started living there. But then, we had the most unexpected guest. Heya! I came here to visit you. You're welcome. Rena! Who could have imagined that crap little house would turn into such a fancy home? What do you want? What's your problem? Is a big sister not allowed to come see her little sister's new home? You've got some nerve to say that after your history of completely destroying somebody else's room. What are you talking about? Oh, is this what you mean? Ah! Sorry. My hand slipped. Get out. I came all the way here for you. Where is your hospitality? Are you kidding me? I'll be collecting the cost of this wallpaper from you. You hear me? Excuse me? Who do you think you are, Nano? I should be asking you? You don't think you're being rude? Coming into somebody's house uninvited and purposefully messing it up? But Mom and Dad said I could do whatever I wanted to your room, and they never got mad. You see, I'm just an artist. Oh, please, an artist. You're just a self-proclaimed phony. You even went to an expensive art class but didn't even last at all. Even though you graduated college, but you're not even working and your parents are still looking after you, aren't they? If you have the time to come to my house, then why don't you go look for a job for once? Shut up, you idiot Nano. I'm going to get married and become a full-time housewife, so I don't need to get a job. I don't think any man would want a girl like that these days. Of course there are. How rude. If you don't want me to call the police for trespassing, then hurry up and get out. Are you kidding me? Open up, Nano. You better remember this. After that, I went to a lawyer friend for help, and I sent my sister a claim for the cost of damages for the wallpaper that she ruined. But then, this time, I got a call from my parents. Hey, Nano, what is this cost of damages? Are you kidding me? I'm not kidding. Rena says she didn't do anything, though. Well, Rena is lying. Aren't you the one that's lying? I just so happened to be taking a video. Do you want to see it? Do you understand now? But that doesn't mean there has to be something wrong with you to sue your own sister for the cost of damages. So what if she's my sister? She messed up a house that I spent a lot of time and effort into cleaning up. If you had juice thrown onto the wallpaper of a house you just built, wouldn't anyone be mad? That's a house that we gave to you in the first place. Now you're trying to make me feel guilty? Unfortunately for you, I've already heard the entire situation from Auntie and Uncle. Thanks to me taking that house, you guys were able to inherit the money, weren't you? And not just a little bit, but quite the sum. I heard the three of you were on a family vacation with that money. Of course, I don't remember getting any invitation to that. So if anything, shouldn't you be the one grateful to me? Why are you talking back to me? This is why you've never been a cute kid. If your definition of cute is to do everything as the parent says, then I'll gladly say no thank you to that. Anyway, you better pay me the cost of damages. That's something that your sister did? Listen, just because my sister did it, the only person that forgives her for everything is you and Dad. Oh, and this incident made me realize that Rena is going to be 30 pretty soon, so why don't you stop spoiling her at home all the time and teach her some manners on how to be an adult? That is none of your concern. Unlike you, Rena actually cares about her parents and is a nice girl. We're absolutely never paying for that. Oh, really? Well then, shall we take it to court? Court? Why don't we make it clear in black and white from an objective point of view? Who's right and wrong? Are you being serious? Dead serious. Ugh! They must have realized I wasn't joking, and I later received the payment from my parents. I'm sure they knew that they wouldn't be able to win in court. At the end of that conversation, "After this, I can't think of you as my own daughter," my mom said to me, so... Well then, all three of you, don't ever come anywhere near me again, I replied. In return for cutting off all ties and losing my family, I was able to gain a peaceful and stress-free life. It was really a refreshing feeling. Then, one day, through my YouTube channel, I got a message. To my surprise, they were asking to buy my grandmother's house that we had renovated. I discussed it with my husband, and we decided to meet with the person who messaged the channel.
I've been watching your videos for a long time, but the latest house that you uploaded was just so spectacular. And if you're open to it, I would like to purchase it as a holiday home.
Apparently, this gentleman was a fan ever since I first started uploading videos, and he was a super wealthy man owning multiple businesses. He said he comes around here often for work and that he wants to purchase it as a place to stay when he comes to this area.
Of course, I understand that this is a precious house that you inherited from your grandmother, and how much it must mean to you. Therefore, as for the price, including the land and the building, how's $300,000? $300,000? Was that too low? In that case, if you could, please, tell me your asking price.
No, that's too much! Right, Masayoshi?
Yes! Even if we included the cost of the renovation, it wouldn't come close. But originally, it was a house that you inherited, Nano.
After that, as a result of our discussion, we decided to sell it for $200,000. We would have been happy with $100,000, but he insisted that was too low and refused to accept it. Originally, we always planned on living in it ourselves, so we had imported a lot of our belongings. But if someone who loved the house this much was going to live there, I figured the house would be happy too. 1 month later, we gathered our belongings and moved, and this gentleman who was our fan moved in immediately after.
Look at this! I finished moving in! This feels like a dream, that I would get to live in a house that you and your husband renovated together. I'm looking forward to taking care of this house.
We're thrilled to see that you're enjoying it.
Why don't we buy another house and renovate it?
Yeah, that sounds great. We didn't have any particular preference on where to live, so the two of us took our time looking for a new home. I never could have imagined that this perfectly peaceful life was once again about to be disrupted by that family of mine. One night, my phone was ringing, and when I checked the screen, it was from none other than my sister, whom I should have cut off all ties with. I'm going to ignore it. But then, next, I got a phone call from an unknown number. I had a bad feeling, but I couldn't let go of the possibility that it could be a client, so I answered. How dare you ignore my phone calls, stupid Nano? So it was you after all. Whatever, anyway, can you bring me some more alcohol? Huh? I don't understand what you're saying. What do you mean you don't understand? Do you have ears? Hey, Rena, are you drunk? I'm drunk? You are drunk. I'm at your stupid house right now. Huh? What do you mean? I'm having an after party at your house. Huh? After party? What? Wait a minute, where are you right now? Don't tell me. Don't tell me you're at Grandma's house. Obviously I am. You need to get out right now. Even if you try to kick me out, it's useless. That's not my house anymore. Huh? You're not making any sense. I sold it to somebody who said they wanted it. Who on earth would say they want this house? Do you think I'm stupid or something? I never told you guys, but I have a YouTube channel. And I upload DIY videos and renovation videos, and I also uploaded a renovation of the house. Then, one of my viewers came to me and said they wanted to buy it. As if that would ever happen. You know there's no point in lying to me. I'm not lying. How did you get into the house anyway? The back door was open. You're seriously so careless. The back door? You mean it wasn't locked from the inside? I broke it. So you broke in. That's full-blown trespassing. Too bad for you. This time you don't have any video evidence, so you can't collect any cost of damages from me. You idiot sister. Call me whatever you want. Hey, what was that sound? So sorry. Looks like my friend might have broken a glass. You have a lot anyway, so it's fine if you lose one, right? You idiot! Oh, and when did you get yourself a wine cellar? I don't know that much about wine, but it's going down like water. I'm going to take a few of these bottles with me, okay? I couldn't let her cause any more damages, so I immediately called the police. At the same time, I explained the situation to the homeowner, and he replied that he would head there straight away, and Masayoshi and I jumped in the car to meet them there. Hey, let me go! Nano, what is this about? You idiot! I told you to never come near me ever again! What is your problem? How is this fair, getting married and living in a beautiful house like this?
This house is my house.
The new homeowner just happened to be working nearby, so he rushed over to the house and stepped forward. What? But who are you?
I'm the person who received this house from this couple over here.
No way! You weren't lying earlier? How many times do I have to tell you?
Looks like you've really done as you please around here. You've opened my wine and broken my glasses.
No, it's all a misunderstanding. I thought those were all of my sisters and...
So, just because they're your little sister's things, you believe you can do whatever you want with them?
Well, obviously, because the brat is the little sister and I'm the older sister.
It seems you have quite the crazy sister. That must have been exhausting.
Yes, truly. I'll apologize, see? So make the police stop.
Please, go ahead and take her.
Are you listening? You're the one that refused to listen. What are you saying? Hey, that hurts. No, hey, you have to forgive me.
I'll be collecting the cost of damages from you later.
No! The police then took my sister, as well as her idiot friends that were trashing the house with her. After that, upon being convicted of trespassing, my sister received a collection letter for a cost of damages that made her eyes jump out of her head. Soon after, she came crying to me. Nano, help me! How am I supposed to pay $300,000?
Why does it become this amount just for trespassing?
That house that Rena trashed actually belongs to a very wealthy man. I don't know the details, but he said he was storing all of his expensive wines in the wine cellar to age them properly. And yet, Rena opened and drank more than half of those. I think that alone was about $100,000 worth?
Well then, what about the other $200,000?
Seems like the glasses and plates that you shattered were also quite expensive. All of them were custom made, or ones that he purchased and imported from overseas. Oh, and since you were also reckless, there's the cost of all the furniture that you damaged, and maybe an added bonus for all of the inconveniences you've caused? You're earning quite a lot through that YouTube, aren't you? Originally, it was your house, so you need to take responsibility. That doesn't make any sense. If you hadn't sold that house, none of this would have happened. When I took this house off of your hands, I confirmed with you, didn't I? Whether I could do whatever I wanted with it. And you said, sell it or burn it, that I could do whatever I wanted. So all I did was do exactly as I was told, right?
Don't make up excuses!
Who's the one making up excuses? I don't care, but you have to pay it. No, thank you. Can't you see that your real sister is in trouble? I only have memories of my real sister causing me trouble, so...
You horrible daughter!
What are you saying, Dad? Not to point out the obvious, but the documents are addressed to Rena, aren't they? So why don't you just make Rena pay it herself?
How could we ever do something like that?
Rena isn't even married yet, you know. Look, how much are you going to spoil Rena until you're satisfied? To be completely straight with you, the reason why Rena ended up this way is completely your fault, Mom and Dad.
What do you mean, this way?
Unlike you, Rena is our sweet daughter. Is that so? Well then, why don't you guys front the $300,000 for her? For that sweet, sweet sister of mine.
We can't do that. That's obviously why we contacted you.
You need to pay the $300,000. This is getting ridiculous. What is there not to understand? I realized anything further was pointless and I hung up the phone. They kept trying to relentlessly call me after that, but I ignored them all. The three of them somehow found my current house and tried to force their way in, but I didn't tell them where I was moving to, and so it ended there. What do I do?
It's okay, Rena. Your mom and dad are going to figure this out for you.
In the end, apparently my parents fronted the payment of $300,000 for her. Of course, it was a household that had spent all of their money on my spoiled sister, so there was no way they had any savings of that amount, and they had to go into debt. A few months later, this is all for dinner? I'm sorry, your mom is working hard too, but the loan payments are a lot. Perhaps she couldn't bear this lifestyle, but a few months later, apparently my sister left her parents that helped her and ran away with a man. I'm going to go be happy. Thanks for paying back the loan. My parents became so depressed that even though they had supposedly disowned me, they tried to ask for my address. But of course, I ignored them anyway. I don't know where my sister is now, but I have a hard time believing that such a horrible person could ever find happiness, no matter where she goes. I wonder when my darling is coming. Yes? Who are you?
Are you Rena?
Yes, I am, and...
Your man tried to escape his debt and ran away, so we'll have you return it in his place.
No way. Surely this is some kind of mistake.
Isn't this your signature as the joint guarantor?
But that's because my darling asked me to sign, so...
Take her.